Greetings, friends. This is Stan the Radio Man, and today I'm in the transformation zone. And what do you think we should talk about today? Well, could it be, yeah, just could it be that we need a baseball story? And the baseball story, oh, it disappeared. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I got it back. This is a very wonderful baseball that I treasure. We'll tell you more about that because we're going to talk about high, hard, and inside. High, hard, and inside. And then we're going to invite you to a brand new Transformation Zone podcast. That's the show for this turbulent Thursday, and it begins right now. Indeed, it does. And I'm looking forward. Oftentimes, I say that Thursday is kind of the turbulence day. And as a business coach, I've oftentimes found out that that really is the case, that, ups and downs, but just as the end of the week, and hopefully you can get it done before so you can kind of have a little bit of an ease up for future Friday when you think about the future. But it just turns out that oftentimes there's just kind of things get shaken up. There's turbulence that occurs on Thursday. Turbulent Thursday. I don't know if that's the case for you. Well, I would like to tell you a story, and hopefully it'll go into something that might be helpful to you. Yes, here is the baseball. Now, let me tell you, I have been told there's a family legend that I went to my first Chicago Cubs baseball game when I was 2 months old. That's right. Now, there's quite a story involved in it, but supposedly it was that my father, who was in graduate school, someone gave him a ticket to a Cubs game, and he didn't know what to do because my mother was off for the day and he was taking care of me. And what's he going to do? He can't go to the Cubs game because he was had to take care of me. So he did something that was rather unique. He took a 2-year-old baby to the Cubs game. Now, at least that is the story that has filled my family legend book. And of course, for many, 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 many years, I was a distraught Cubs fan because they just could never win when I was growing up. Ernie Banks and all those great people, they 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 still didn't win. But I was a baseball fan. Now, right now, that's less and less in my life. But um, part of what I remembered also was that my daughter, who is a writer and an editor in New York City, she came to me and said, "Dad, I'm going to the Dominican Republic." And I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, I'm on an assignment with a guy from New York City, New York Times, and we're going to go down and we're going to interview some of the famous baseball players that came from the Dominican Republic." And there were a whole lot of them. And I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Do you remember any of their names?" She said, "Well, I think the one we're going to talk to is Juan Marichal." And I said, "Juan Marichal? Oh, wow." Now, I was a Cubs fan, but I didn't live in Chicago. I lived in a little town called Michigan City, Indiana, and there was a Class D ball team there called the Michigan City Whitecaps because of the Whitecaps on the Lake Michigan, and they all wore white caps. And they were all Class D. But one year there was a certain young pitcher from the Dominican Republic who was so terrific that even though he was in the bottoms of the minor league, he quickly made it to the major leagues, and his name was Juan Marichal. And I remember seeing him play, and I saw him play when he was 18 years old. And she said, "Well, I'm going to go see him." And I said, great. And she said, I'll tell him I'll give him greetings. Well, she did that. And the guy was so glad because that really filled in the interview because that got him going on what it was like to be a young 17, 18-year-old from the Dominican Republic who didn't speak any English. And here he lands up in this baseball town in Indiana and dealt with all kinds of difficult stuff, kind of racial and other things. But that actually made the story as he kind of laughed about some of his Class D white cap experiences. So I have this baseball, which I will then transfer onto my daughter's son. He'll get it someday, and it's kind of a treasure passed on. Well, I've also learned that when it comes to baseball, some people have said that baseball is the great American game because it's more like life. Uh, by the way, football, you have to have size and strength and things like that. Basketball, tall, things that baseball doesn't require as much deep size and deep strength as many of the other sports. It really requires skill and strategy that you can be of normal height and normal weight and maybe normal strength, but you could still be really good at baseball if you worked hard enough and, did your deal. So that may be true. But there's an expression that I oftentimes say, hey, we're talking about transformation, changing people. I said, sometimes people really need something high, hard, and inside to help them along, maybe to straighten them out. Now, what do you mean by high, hard, and inside? Well, it's not done as much anymore because you could get thrown out of the game. But when I was a kid, pitchers had a habit of, let's say, a particular, like a Mickey Mantle would come up and he's sitting in there and he's ready to, to dug in to try and hit a homer. And so one of the first pitches he might get is not in the strike zone. It's what? High, hard, and inside. And he has, and they weren't trying to hit them in the head, but they were trying to back them off, not take them a bit off balance, you know, shake them up. And, sometimes we all need a high, hard inside, to shake us up, maybe to keep us a little more humble. Maybe, maybe that's really how we're transformed when something that really, oh my goodness, wow. And it really was high, hard, and inside in our life. It was tough. Maybe we did hit the deck. Maybe it hit us high, hard, and inside. I've had a number of high, hard inside shots and had to hit the deck. And maybe you have too. And what I'm pointing out is that sometimes the transformation will actually come from something like that, something that really hit us, moved us back, you know, had to hit the ground, uh, and then get back up and see if we can still face that tough picture there. High, hard, and inside. Well, sometimes a younger person, usually, but not always, needs someone to shake them up just a bit. Maybe their arrogance or their pride or their what they think is cleverness, that the fact that they're a real hot shot. And I said that, and I said that to one of my clients one time, that story, and he said, "You know what? That's exactly what one of my young assistants needs. He's really good, but he needs someone to give him a little high, hard, and inside shot, just to shake him up a bit, just to have him to realize that maybe he's not quite the hot shot he thinks he is. Yeah, we're going to change him. The first thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to arrange a little high, hard, and inside event in his life. Won't hurt him, but it might shake him up, might humble him a bit. That's just an interesting story about maybe that's part of the transformation zone in our lives is that we have some high, hard, and inside that comes to us. Sometimes transformation comes because we got hit, we got hurt. Uh, I'm more and more convinced that sometimes transformation comes out of traumatization. Could that be your case? Uh, I know that in a couple of cases it was mine. It wasn't the transformation that I wanted, but it came to me as a result of something I didn't want. And you know what? I might be better off for it. In some cases, I know I am. Just a little baseball lesson. As someone has said today, the umpire will probably throw you out. And that's probably the case. Um, let's move on to one other thing. Many of you know that I have very much worked with my friend Joe Pine, and of course, the book. Where is the book? It's right here. Yes, it was in my easy chair because I was still going through it, putting all kinds of little stickers in the Transformation Economy by Joe Pine. And book is doing well, and it's a it's a powerful read. It's a bit of a tough read. You know, it might have a little high, hard, and inside stuff. Oh my goodness, I don't know that really. Oh, well, uh, Joe and I are going to be doing some work, and as a 45 year broadcaster, half century, I'm going to start doing a podcast, which is going to come from the transformation zones, and it's going to be called "You Are the Transformation." You are the transformation, and there's a whole series of lessons that might be helpful to you because Joe says we're living in the transformation economy. Well, it might be that if we're going to live in the transformation economy, we might need to do some transforming ourselves. Maybe we need to be transformed. Maybe we need to go through a transformation if we're going to help others in the transformation zone. Things are changing. They're flying all over. The butterfly, the symbol of the caterpillar who becomes a butterfly and flies away. But maybe there's too much action, power, and energy, but it's the transformation zone, little zone we have here is meant to be that are you walking into it or are you walking out of it? It's a place where things change. They might be a mini change. They might be a micro change. They might be kind of all right, yeah, okay change, a medium change, or it could be a magna change, big one, a magnificent change. It really changed you, changing me and changing you. Uh, Gave us a whole new identity, maybe a whole new way of living. Well, we're going to be talking about things like that in the Transformation Zone podcast. Welcome to the Transformation Zone. And the podcast will be You Are the Transformation. I think you'll find it helpful and useful. And perhaps you'll get occasionally a high, hard one. And occasionally, more than occasionally, I think you'll say, thank you. That was great. That was helpful. That was useful. I can do that. That was useful. That will help me make more money, have more fun, and live better, and help others in the transformation zone, in the transformation economy. That's what I'm hoping for. Hey, just about 15 or 20 minutes for sometimes what I call a, a talk of wisdom, insight, and truth. Talk of wisdom, insight, and truth. Kind of a transformation twit talk. All the best and blessings to you. And by the way, always do that. Always leave with a benediction. That's a good way to live in the transformation economy and in the transformation zone. Indeed, live long and prosper, as Spock would say, and best and blessings to you. Till next time when we go into the zone, come up to bat in the zone. We'll see you. Bye for now.